to Unleashing Your Inner Chef. My name is Kevin Prendergast. I'm the chef of the Barbados Resorts, and I'd like to introduce the star of the Tonight Show, Chef Andre Nurse.
Hi. Hi, my name is Andre Nurse. I'm the head chef for the Grill Restaurant, and it's nice to have you all ready to prepare to cook. So first, you should have all of your ingredients. The herbs, you have the thyme, the onions, the garlic, the chives, and the rosemary. Now we're going to separate. We're going to first prepare the oxtail first, and then we're going to use the rest of the herbs to complete the gnocchi. So I would like to turn your stove to medium heat. Good. So we add a little olive oil, about 1 ounce. So we use 2 ounces of onions and 2 ounces of garlic. We saute.
And I don't know if you can hear it, but you always want to hear that sizzle in your pan. That way you know you're going to develop some flavors, you're going to get some caramelization, and you don't want it too hot because then it'll get burnt and bitter. So moving it around, sometimes you might have to add a little more olive oil. If you want a little richer, you could probably at this point add a knob of butter.
All right.
But this is
basically now.
Going along well.
Yeah. So second, we're going to take the oxtail and we'll use about 4 ounces. Let that simmer.
And like I said before, this oxtail is already cooked and picked for you, so you're just bringing it back up to temperature, so you can use a medium heat.
Yeah.
If you were at home starting from scratch, once you let the oxtails cool down a little bit, then you can pick them, keep them in their juice. And that's one thing that's important to remember is if you're cooking at home today for tomorrow, when you cool the meat down and you pick it, put it back into the liquid that you cooked it in, and then you'll absorb more moisture. And sometimes you have a dry tasting product. This will prevent that for you.
All right. So now we're going to add an ounce of rosemary and 1 ounce of thyme and marjoram mixed together. You stir again. You should be smelling the aroma by now. At this point you can add a little salt and pepper to taste. And now we can add 4 ounces of the oxtail jus.
Now I hope everyone's getting those aromas developing in their kitchen. They start smelling it. Because right now you have the liquid that's in the meat with the herbs and the onions, and they really should be developing an aroma, and the flavors are all going to start being infused into one another.
So now you can lower the stove to the lowest temperature and let that simmer. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to prepare the gnocchi, the potato gnocchi.
Just as a little footnote for everyone, if I was cooking at home, and I'm not supposed to have dairy, I would start adding big mounds of butter in there. Because when you get the butter in there, you get that rich, velvety flavor. But today, we're going off the recipe that we use. But again, what I said earlier, these are ways you can add up the recipe to your own liking. But butter really does add lots of calories and lots of flavor. So great things.
Okay. So we add 2 ounces of the oil, olive oil. Again, 1 ounce of garlic, 2 ounces of onion, little thyme, chives, a quick stir, saute for about 30 seconds.
And at home, you should be really starting to smell all that aromatics from the pan already. You know, it's warm. You got some oil in there. It just starts releasing all those flavors. So you should be smelling it. We're in wide open space tonight.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, we got a great view behind us. You should come and visit us. But you can really smell the flavors, so for sure your house will be full. I mean, kids stop watching TV to come into the kitchen with this dish.
So now we can saute and we keep stirring. Make sure all the herbs coat each gnocchi.
Another opportunity to add more butter.
Yeah. A lot of flavor.
Yeah.
More salt and pepper.
And I'm sure most people know with their pepper mill, if they use one at home, that if you release the tension on your grind, you actually get larger chunks of pepper out. So if a dish, like a steak dish, you'd want your pepper grinds really, really big because the meat can take the extra flavor. Something that's a little more delicate, like the potato gnocchi, you want to screw it down a little bit, and then you get a lighter pepper flavor.
So at this point now we add the 4 ounces of cooking cream. And you let that cook. So this dish basically takes about 20 minutes to cook. And you can let the gnocchi simmer in the cream so that it can coat. And in your recipe, you have some veg stock. You can add that if the cream gets thicker. I love the thickness of the sauce on my gnocchi. Good. Now we can add 2 ounces of the truffle cheese.
And again, you know, if your preference is something different, you can go to a lighter cheese. You can use some cream cheese to keep it a little lighter, or you go to pecorino if you like a sharper, saltier flavor. Parmesan is really that popular, creamier cheese once it gets melted.
Yeah.
And if you can see in the pan now,
yeah, it's
the cheese has helped thicken the cream, which is now coating the gnocchi.
It's basically done. And here comes the good part. Right. Good.
The one great thing about this dish is if you were entertaining, you could have the oxtail hot sitting on their stove just on a light simmer and then cook the gnocchi when your guests are ready to sit down. It's a quick portion of the plate, the composition. So it's really a family-friendly dish, lots of flavor, and it holds up well.
Okay, so let's get ready to plate now. Place the gnocchi at the bottom of the of whatever plate you choose to desire to plate it on. One of my favorite dishes in the grill restaurant, and also ordered by our guests.
The great thing about this dish is it's just full of so much flavor. You know, the oxtail is one of those proteins that is a little more time consuming to cook. It's one that takes a little more time to handle, some cooking, cooling, picking, but it's just so flavorful. It's worth all those extra minutes of working. I mean, I love a great steak, but if I had a choice between a great steak and oxtail that's been braised, I'm going to take the oxtail. It's just so, it's guaranteed flavor.
Good. And also we have some caramelized onions that we have already prepared.
So even though that the last two components, the caramelized onions and the split peas, are room temp, the oxtail and the gnocchi are holding so much heat that, you know, if you wanted to mix it up a little bit and spoon it out and then eat it together, it's going to completely heat that stuff up really fast.
Good. And if you choose to add more cheese to your dish, you can if you want. Makes the dish much sexier.
Let's make it a little sexier.
Yeah.
And then another level is just, you know, you can buy in some grocery stores microgreens. Some packages are specific to a certain flavor. This was just a mix, but you know, just placing just the odd leaf.
You know, it's very fresh. And here we go. Our potato gnocchi, one of my favorites, and I recommend to anyone that comes to the grill restaurant. Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed yourself. It was way faster than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you have your mise en place done, that's what we call our prep. You know, your chopped onions, your garlic. When everything is ready, the dish actually falls very quickly to completion. And that's how I cook at home, especially if I have, you know, more than a few people. But even if it's just myself, I am prepping in advance so that you can cook and enjoy the meal. And you know, some things like the oxtail you can cook today for tomorrow. You can cook it today, cool it, and actually have it on Saturday. It's one of those dishes that, because you're storing it in its own juice, it's a natural sealant, and you'll never lose its integrity. So I hope you enjoyed unleashing your inner chef.
Yeah.
I want to thank Andre for the dish. I want to thank everyone for watching, and we really would look forward to having everyone come back at the Hilton Barbados Resort as soon as we can get everyone safely back to the hotel and ensure that your safety is looked after as well.